What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome back to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Recently I've been doing a lot of baseball, so I think some of these are some basketball only because of the postmark on them. I'm only going to do 3 returns today because I think this is going to be a theme, meaning 2 of these are postmarked from Cleveland, Ohio, and I recently wrote 3 or 4 Cleveland Cavalier players. So I think 2 of these, 3 at least, are Cleveland Cavs. I'm going to step out on a limb here and hope that the 3rd one, postmarked outside of Cleveland, is also a Cav. So hopefully I'm right. So we'll start with the first one not from Cleveland. So that way if it is something else, I'll kind of edit this video and make it work. So the first one is from, looks like they didn't return the sleeve, but that is a basketball card, I can see that much. And that is from former point guard Terrell Brandon. Now Terrell played for the Cavs for quite a while. He was kind of their replacement to Mark Price. As you know, as the 90s wore on, Price had some injuries. He, want to say Price was out for an entire season one time with an injury. And they drafted Terrell Brandon, and Brandon made a couple all-star teams. I'm pretty sure of that. All of these cards are relatively in his young career. This, in fact, is his rookie card. 11th overall pick that year. That was the year that Dikembe Mutombo and Larry Johnson were in the draft, 1991. 6-foot guard out of Portland. I thought he was only 5'11", but maybe I'm wrong. It says 6 foot. But Mr. Brandon played for the Cavs for quite a while. I don't have it in front of me, but he was a point guard. He was the guy that made this team work. So luckily, I opened the right envelope, and this can be a Cleveland Cavs themed video, it appears. Because moving on to the next one, and again, thank you, Mr. Brandon, for signing those. But moving on to the next autograph here, I think I just messed up the sign. So we'll edit that, record in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The next one is also postmarked from Cleveland. I have 2 more here, or 1 more, other than this one. Postmarked from Cleveland. And this individual did not play in the NBA very long, if I'm correct, yes. And that is former first-round pick, Jimmy Oliver. Now, Mr. Oliver, looks like he signed them all. I put an extra one in there for him. And I think I may have just incorrectly said he was a first-round pick. He may not have been a first-round pick. No, he was a second-round pick. So, not a first-round pick of the Cavs, but second-round pick, Jimmy Oliver. And he played his college ball at Purdue University, which is in Indiana. So, I'm sure Mr. Oliver was more than ecstatic to only have to move about a state away to continue his professional career. Mr. Oliver, Jimmy didn't play very long in the NBA. He played in an era that it was very competitive, still competitive to this day, don't get me wrong, but he did not play, very long at the professional level. He, was a good college player, obviously a great college player if he got drafted. And I bought these sets right here, these college great sets, or college draft pick sets, I should say, for next to nothing. I slowly but surely have sent to a few people. Pete Chilcutt comes to mind, Terrell Brandon. I've gotten him in the past, 2 or 3 years ago out of these sets. Greg Anthony. Guys of that nature that played, in the NBA that, weren't superstars like Dikembe Mutombo or, Larry Johnson, who's in these sets. Would love to get LJ to sign him, but I don't see that happening. I don't think he does mail at all, so I doubt I'm ever going to get my Larry Johnsons out of these sets signed. But these were some cheap cards I had laying around. I had these, 91 Upper Decks. That set's relatively cheap. You can get it for $5 probably now, or you can buy a box for that or whatever. But very happy to add Jimmy Oliver to the Cavs collection. Not a household name, but definitely part of the Cleveland Cavaliers history. So thank you very much, Mr. Oliver. And now this last one I've written before in the past, if I'm correct on who this is. And yes, I am. And that is former All-Star, former Phoenix Sun and Cleveland Cav, and his son now is a Cleveland Cavalier since the recent trade with Isaiah Thomas, is Larry Nance Sr., we'll call him. There wasn't a Larry Nance Sr. up until a few years ago when his son got drafted. I didn't know there was a Larry Nance Jr. But Larry Nance Sr., very, very good ball player. As you can see, he's made a couple All-Star teams. That's him as an All-Star in '89. And just up until 1991-92, he was averaging 17 points a game. When Nance played for the Phoenix Suns, he was a very, very, very good dunker. I believe he won a slam dunk championship one year, actually. He was a high flyer, would be the best way to put it. And after the Suns decided that they didn't need his services anymore, they traded him to the Cavs. And between Nance, Doherty, and Price, that was one heck of a combination that they had going for a little while there. Unfortunately, the Cavs never won with these guys. There was this guy named Michael Jordan that seemed to kind of dominate the East during that time period. As a matter of fact, one of Michael Jordan's most famous shots was at the expense of Craig Elo of the Cleveland Cavaliers. For many of the viewers out there that grew up, watching Jordan play during our era, they know exactly what shot I'm talking about. But for some of the younger viewers, just simply YouTube Michael Jordan versus Craig Elo or Michael Jordan versus Cleveland Cavs, and you'll see that highlight. I mean, they almost show it every year during the NBA playoffs. But it's simply Michael Jordan pulling up for a buzzer beater right over the top of Craig Elo, and Elo just kind of falls to the side, during that shot, and Jordan celebrates and hits it or whatever. And it's kind of funny because I've heard Steve Kerr, whether I heard him say it or I read it in one of his articles, he talked about that moment because Steve Kerr was on the bench for the Cavaliers when that very moment occurred. So Steve Kerr's a great person to listen to if you ever listen to him talk or listen to him in a written interview. His insight in the NBA is great. But getting back on topic, thank you very much, Larry Nance. I think to this day he still works in some capacity for the Cavs. I believe I sent these care of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So some of the viewers out there, if you want to add Larry Nance to your collection, just simply find the address to where the Cleveland Cavaliers currently play and stick a few in the mail, and he'll probably sign them for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. A little shorter this time, only 3 returns, but we'll probably have it back up to the 4 for the next video. And I thank you very much for watching, and hope to hear your comments below.